March 26th, 2003, I parachuted into northern Iraq during the invasion, and about 2 months later, I was pulling guard on long lines of people waiting for water, propane, food, any handouts that the American troops could give. And I really didn't ever want to be in that situation. Now that we have a tiny home, it is our sanctuary. Hi, we're the Starks. Come take a tour of our off-grid Alaskan home. We live on the Kenai Peninsula in south central Alaska. We've got a total of 835 square feet for all 6 of us in the family. We're gonna take you on a tour of our home with the living room and dining room area, the kitchen back there. We've got a bathroom, our girls' bedroom, a nursery up the stairs, and then mom and dad's room above us. So come on with me into the kitchen. When I asked my wife Savannah to marry me 6 years ago, she hesitated for a moment and then she said, only if we get a refrigerator. Because before I met Savannah, there was no refrigerator in our house. There was no electricity in here whatsoever. I was living with a candle and a little propane burner, being just rustic. Since meeting her and getting married, the kitchen has developed. It is the heart of our home. It's kind of a hallway style kitchen, which can be hard when we try to work as a team together in the kitchen, but it is what it is. There's only so much we can do about it. We spend hours in here every day, from harvesting the food in the fields, to processing salmon, to cooking baby food for our babies. I mean, everything that we do basically starts in here. We love it and we hate it, but it is a spot where we come together and prepare the delicious food that drives us on. And we'll start with this monstrosity that is a normal everyday refrigerator. Before our first baby was born, we had one of them little college dorm refrigerators. It was awesome. It worked for a couple years until our first baby was born, and then Savannah really wanted a bigger refrigerator. And so we bought this thing, and it has been awesome. It drains a lot of power from us, but I wouldn't trade it for nothing for the freezer and the fridge space to feed a family of 6 now. From there, we've got our propane oven, inside and outside. 4 burners, works great. And then just past it, this is the baker's table. I really came up when I got married. I married a baker. I always dreamed about it and it actually happened. And so on Mother's Day, years back, we got her this baker's table and she uses this thing at least 4 times a week. Right now we got some sourdough bread here. It's delicious. Inside of the baker's table are all the baking supplies. On top of it is granite. On this side of the kitchen here, we've got a wood slab countertop that the man who built the house, Wayne Sapp, put in here himself. It needs some work, as do most things in our house, but it keeps being neglected and it is what it is. We've got a drip feed gravity tank system here from the water tank upstairs. This here is our Berkey water filter. We have a well, it brings all the water in, we filter it all to drink. This kitchen has seen a lot of alterations over the years. We had shelves going all the way up before that were very hard to get into. We had cabinets here before that got taken down because they were blocking too much natural light, and that was before we had the recessed lights, and so it was just too dark in here. But right now we have it just like this with the plan that I'm gonna build cabinets that will cover this whole backside, and we'll have some more storage cabinets up high. Right now, it is what it is. So one of the things that we've done regarding storage where we live now, not just for the kitchen, but the whole house, we bought a shipping container. We put a lot of the excess stuff out there. So out in the Connex is where we've got buckets and buckets of dried foods, different plates and things if we have guests that come over. Inside of our kitchen, we've got 1 plate for each family member. 1 fork, 1 spoon, 1 bowl, that's it. But that's basically what we try to do, is just keep it minimal in our kitchen with what we have here. But we love our kitchen. And we love the storage, the refrigerator, the well water, the filter, everything I've already said. We're so grateful for this kitchen. So this here is what we call the winter room, because this is a warm area during the winter time. This is our dining room table. My wife and I made this table together. I harvested this wood from a nearby homestead that was an old barn, and the owner said I could tear the barn down to get all the wood. And so I took all that wood off of it, sanded it, planed it down, and then I cut all the pieces, and she was gonna screw it all together. Well, she went to start screwing it all together and realized that every board was a different length. So I'm really not a good carpenter, I'm not gonna lie. We had to recut every board again, it's so ridiculous. But in the end, nobody knows that besides us now. And we get to use this table every day. We sit at the table to eat, we do homework at the table, Dad writes at the table, the kids paint at the table, my wife beads at the table. Everything we do, really, like this is our table, man, it's our spot. We love these big windows. Really good natural lighting in here because of it. What I love probably the most about where we live and these windows, my wife and I talk about it all the time, is we look out and we don't see a single house. Oh man, we love some privacy and love only seeing the woods around us. I'm kind of a guy who likes to be prepared for things, and I learned at a young age that every Alaskan family should have 2 heat sources, and so we do. So we've got our wood stove, which is our primary heat source, and then we have a backup Toyo stove that runs on diesel or J1 heating fuel. And this thing is an old earth stove, it's steel. It was handed down from family. We have our water on it, 2 big pots. That's how we heat our water. We use this as the primary deal. Something about this house, which I love and don't love, is the heat goes up and man, it stays up there and it can get really hot up there. So now that we have a nursery up there, we can't burn it that much. And so we've been transitioning into the Toyo, which is way more consistent, you know? And so both of them are great to have. We just got this little rainbow couch. We didn't know we could buy furniture online. We did. It was like 230 bucks. Can't beat it. And that has been a game changer now for our family, because before we would all try to snuggle on this one lazy boy and we had a rocking chair there. Adding that piece of furniture and having this space is so good for our family, because when we're in this space together, it's kind of that like hygge time, I guess they say, where it's really that family time. So I love this space. I love my living room. It's so tight. I think 3 years ago, my brother bought us this TV for Christmas. We were very hesitant to introduce the TV for many reasons. Before that, we just had our laptop with a little DVD player that we plugged into it. We would sit on the bed or anywhere and watch it together. This thing, it kind of took over. With that being said, we love this space because we have some guidelines with how to watch TV. We don't just plop our kids in front of the TV and forget about them for 6 hours. We typically watch a DVD together. We play some Super Nintendo together, and we get to hang out together and fall in love with films instead of just trash. And then it leads into the bathroom and laundry room and the girls' bedroom. So there's a lot of screaming and running and laundry and a lot of movement that happens in this space right here. And I really love it because it's a transition between multiple rooms where we all kind of meet and hug and hold and wrestle and then move on to getting stuff done. We met when Savannah was working at a bakery in Homer, and she was the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. And I started going in there and getting them biscuits and gravy, and I couldn't get enough. And I finally asked her on a date. Next thing you know, here we are.
We have 4 kids. We got married really quickly after 5 months of dating. Now we've been working on kind of making this home our home and all 4 kids' home. Really trying to just squeeze everybody into here.
Yeah, it really was just a house here before Savannah came along. Things got more beautified and a lot more love in here rather than just work, work, work. But with that were the struggles of learning how to live together like anybody faces in a smaller space. And then with each child became a new struggle of more stuff and more personalities. Oh, there were so many things that led to the decision of living in a tiny home off-grid in Alaska that it's hard to narrow it down. But I'll say that March 26th, 2003, I parachuted into northern Iraq during the invasion, and about 2 months later, I was pulling guard on long lines of people waiting for water, propane, food, any handouts that the American troops could give. And I really didn't ever want to be in that situation of waiting for handouts and not having your own land to provide for you. And so that seed was planted when I was young. I was 18 at that time, and over the years traveled all over the world, but always came back to Alaska, my home state. And then the time finally came to buy some land, and I could have bought probably 1/8 of an acre for what I paid for 20 acres and an unfinished 680 square foot house with a well and a septic. Just so happened that it was off-grid. I didn't know anything about off-grid living when I bought this place in 2012. I just knew that there was no power here. I didn't know there was a name for it, and that we'd run on generators and get some solar.
But it's been really nice to be able to live that dream of really being able to be in nature and take care of yourself as best as you can. Of course, we still are reliant for a lot of things, but to be able to have just that much more peace of mind that we're okay out here.
And then just the money for the cost of land. I mean, the price of land down our road that is on-grid compared to where we are off-grid is half the cost off-grid.
Yeah.
And it makes it affordable for families like us.
When Bob bought the place, it was 680 square feet, and the 20 acres, it cost him $80,000. That is a steal of a deal.
And then, like Savannah had said, $80,000, that came out to a $540.17 a month payment. I had money saved, and I put it down. I had 20% saved. It was a for sale by owner, owner financed. Because we had the money saved, we were able to make that. And at that time, I received, I think, 40% disability rating from my time in the military. And it just covered the $540.17. And so that was part of the strategic planning, was that I didn't want a mortgage that was any higher than that disability, so I could pursue my dream of writing and growing food. And I knew that was gonna take time. We're mortgage free.
Mortgage free.
We paid it off, and then we bought a yurt that we put out there to Airbnb. That transitioned into using the yurt for writing, yoga, art, kids playing. My brother lived in the yurt for like 3 years. You know, it's been a blessing, and we paid for all of that and everything that's here out of pocket. And so when all of our friends are having to work 2 full-time jobs to pay their $1,800, $2,500 a month mortgage with their bills, we just kind of seal our mouths and we're like,
we have a lot of freedom.
And a lot of blessings, man. No doubt about it, yeah. Not just because the off-grid thing, but because also just the financial situation that our family happens to be in.
Yeah.
Is really, we're lucky, man. We're lucky. This is the girls' bedroom. Before it was the girls' bedroom, it was our library. So now it is bunk bed and storage for clothing. Basically, we try to keep all the kids' stuff in here. It doesn't happen. It goes all over the place, outside, upstairs, everywhere, but we try to keep it centered in here. They love it in here. They play in here for hours. They sleep in here. The kids have autonomy over this space, so Primrose is constantly decorating her own ways. But in the end, Mom and Dad come back in here and we clean it up. There's a little closet, and that's where all my wife's herbal products are, or dried herbs, and the kids keep all their backpacks, and a little storage/fun area. So we love this room as well. It's south facing, so we get great lighting in here. And we do use a little blanket to cover the window at night, because in this time of year, it's super bright and they won't go to sleep unless we do. So that's that. Bedroom. We love our bathroom because it is where we do laundry. It is where the kids have learned how to use the toilet. It is where we use the tub. And we know that there are tons of people, not only on our road, but outside of our road, who don't have a laundry machine, who don't have a toilet, and who do not have a tub. I mean, it's incredible. We've got the well that feeds all of this. So I thank God every day for that. So we have an outhouse outside that we mainly use for the bathroom, but we do have this toilet that leads to a septic. We didn't have a washing machine. Before our first child was born, we used a washboard. Or we would drive to Anchor Point when we had a lot of stuff to do and they have a laundromat. When our first child was born, my father-in-law insisted on buying us a washing machine. And every time I do the laundry, I thank him. Oh man, because it's a game changer. So it's a small washing machine, a little Panda. I couldn't tell you what it uses, but our generator powers it. We don't have a dryer. We've talked about getting a propane dryer over the years, but in the end, we really like just hang drying our clothes. We've got a line inside, and then we also hang them on our railing, upstairs, on the cribs, basically anywhere that we can, we hang them. None of this was here when we bought the place in 2012. We installed the tub, and it's also a game changer. We bathe very much like I bathed when I was traveling in India. We heat up the water on the wood stove, we carry the water in and dump it into this thing, and we bathe with a cup. Boom. Shh. You don't want to see me do that, but you can imagine it. I know you're dying to. Storage-wise, this door, we made the door. I've never made a door before, but it turned out all right. On the back side of the door are a bunch of little shelves that are inlaid in the door frame, and that's where we store a lot of the stuff for the bathroom. We also have some vertical storage with my wife's oils in her little hexagon deals, and then a couple shelves up here for towels, cleaning supplies, and whatnot. Basically, if there's any shelf in this house, it will get filled very quickly. So we try to reduce the shelves, but more things keep coming in. So that's our bathroom. We love it. Even though it's small, it is our sanctuary.
We are upstairs in the nursery. We used to have this room as our bedroom, and we had a bed and a desk in here, and it was very crowded and a lot smaller. We built the addition once we had kids and turned this into where the babies sleep. We have not quite found exactly how we want this room. Dialing it in has been very difficult because we are always having new ideas. Every additional person to the family adds so many things that this room is constantly changing. And right now it's great. It feels very open and fresh, but it's usually pretty chaotic. Having twins, we needed 2 cribs. This was actually the first time that we ever used cribs. We have 2 older kids, but they always slept in our bed, and we realized that was not going to work for everybody. I have their changing table and everything here with some baby plants on top of it. So it's a nursery for babies and plants. And then on this side of the room, the kids have a lot of their art supplies and school supplies in this trunk here. So this closet is for storage and for a lot of overflow stuff that we can't seem to find a good place for. A little bit of work to do when we're trying to figure out exactly where things go and the way that it would really make the house flow, but we're getting a good start on it. I think my favorite part about the nursery, well, maybe 2 things, is the heat up here is so nice, especially in the wintertime. The smell of the wood stove going, you can really feel it and smell it up here. And then really having all of the sunlight come in from these windows is just a game changer. It brings so much light and happiness into this room, so I really love that. Now we are in our bedroom. This is a very new space. We had never been able to access this part of the ceiling before because it was just an open loft. So down from the living room, you look up and it was all the way up to the ceiling here. Now we've got this great space that has added so much extra room. You wouldn't think that this tiny room would make that much of a difference, but we are able to have a closet now. Before this closet, my clothes were everywhere. And we have a tiny dresser that we try to fit everybody's stuff into, and it was never working. So the clothes were always overflowing everywhere. But now I can hang all my stuff up there, and we have little bars that we pull down for the girls here so that they can get a little bit of exercise if they're feeling a little rambunctious. This is our bed. I will say I love this whole area and this bed specifically for many reasons. The bed itself is a wool bed. Keeps you warm in the winter, cool in the summer. It's really great at regulating temperature. And actually, both of these pillows are also wool stuffed. It is a full-size bed. And as you can see, it kind of sticks out a little bit from the wall here. So we really couldn't get anything bigger in here, which is fine because I love to snuggle or smother. And so I don't really need a lot of space anyways. Over here, we have like our little bedtime storage stuff. This room is great because there's no outlets in this room. So this is like an electricity-free zone. So we do have this lantern, kerosene lantern that we use to read with. This is probably one of my favorite spots in the house, if not my favorite spot, because I can be in my bed, reading, looking out the window, being warm and cozy up here. It's great.
So here we're at the entrance to the house. We've got a rainwater gutter that drips down into this rain barrel. We filter it for drinking water. We use it for the gardens. We use it for the chickens, the dogs, for all of us. In a good rain, this fills up super fast. We could really use like 10 of these, but it is what it is for now. We have a bucket at the south side of the chicken coop. There's another rain gutter that drains into what used to be one of these, but it didn't fill up as fast. And so we have a bucket down there that we collect water with. And we have a well. And so the well pumps the water up, as already mentioned, brings it upstairs to the 65-gallon tank. When we are using the pump, we try to fill everything. So we'll fill all of our pots, buckets, chicken feed, this barrel, if it doesn't have any rainwater in it. And that's kind of our makeshift storage. This is our fancy generator shed that my friends had his windows dropped off in at his house from Home Depot. And he was like, hey, I got this box from Home Depot. Do you want it? I was like, yeah. So ta-da! Our beast, little Honda 2200 watt generator. This thing works like a charm for us. We were having challenges with it in the winter time when oil starts thickening up. We ended up putting it in the shed and all those problems went away. It needs a nice warm area for it to circulate the heat in. Our battery bank is 8 6-volt batteries. I think they're each 420 watt hours or amp hours, with an inverter, charge controller that are really working at the same time in there. We've got 5 panels back there that are 100 watts, and I'm about to build another stand to increase our system by like 10-fold. That's where we're at. It works for us, but as we grow as a family, we do want more storage because we're using more electricity. So the most positive life-changing aspects for me regarding our lifestyle probably have to do with how I took so many things for granted before I moved out here. Everything was just flip of the switch. It's really easy to come by. And I think that led to a lot of unhealthy choices. You know, before I moved out here, I was a raging alcoholic, man. I was an addict, straight up. And having the simple things in life every day, I fill my water, I heat my house with wood. It's really bringing it back to the simple living. I think that the benefits that those have given me have provided me the opportunity to heal in ways that I didn't even know I needed healing in from different things that have happened in my life. And that healing provided me the ability to be a family man, to meet the woman of my dreams and have children and spend every day with them. There's so many benefits that I could keep going about the life-changing experiences of living like this, but I think the present moment awareness and spending time with family are the two most important ones.
That's worth it.
Thank you for coming to our home. We look forward to hearing from you in the future. And maybe if you're ever in our neck of the woods, you can stop by. See you next time.